Want to automate record keeping in Airtable from Google Drive updates? Watch this video to learn how in just a few steps. Let's create a scenario that results in the creation of a new record in a specified Airtable table whenever a new document is added to Google Drive or an existing document is modified. First, we'll create a new scenario by clicking the button and naming it right away to avoid losing track. Save the changes and add the first node. The first node will be a trigger node to initiate the scenario. To add it, click the Add Node button, select the Trigger tab, then choose the appropriate group and node. To get the node functioning, you need to authorize it. Create a new authorization by selecting the required service. In our case, it's Google and the necessary option. Use an existing Google account to authorize granting all necessary permissions to the Latenode platform. After authorization, additional fields for setting up the node will appear. Here, simply select My Drive and click Save. With the trigger node added, we now need to add an action node, which will perform the action after the event, such as adding a row to the table when a new file is added or modified. Click on the right connection point of the trigger node and select the appropriate group, in our case, Airtable, and the necessary node. We need the Create Single Record node. It also requires a connection. Create a new connection, choose the authorization method, and in the pop-up window, add the base and confirm access. Once the connection is created, additional fields for setting up the node will appear, where you can select the base and table. Save the changes for now and take a closer look at the table. Here's the table we've created. It has columns for name, user, date, and comment. We want to fill in the name column with the name of the added or modified document, the user column with the username of the person who made the changes, the date column with the date of creation or modification, and optionally add a comment. Return to the Latenode platform. To add these values, which will be provided by the trigger node, select these values in the helper window. It's currently empty because we haven't run the trigger node, so the scenario doesn't know what data it will provide. Run the trigger node once. Wait for the changes to be saved and the scenario to execute. The scenario has executed. Check the output data from the trigger node. It contains information about the file, including its name, the user who made the changes, and the date of modification. Try adding these values to the action node. Click on the name field. In the helper window, you will see all the data from the first node we added, the trigger node. Add the document name, the user who made the changes, the date of modification, and a comment, such as the document identifier. Click Save and run the scenario once more. Save it first and click the single Run button. Modify the document again. Wait for the changes to be saved and the scenario to execute. The scenario executed successfully. The Airtable node confirms that everything was added. Check the table immediately. It shows that the user modified a document with the identifier at the specified time. Try modifying another document. To avoid running the scenario every time, deploy it by clicking the Deploy button. It will automatically become active. Now the scenario will run every time a document is modified. Modify, for instance, a Google Sheet. Add a new cell. A new row has appeared. It indicates that the document named Draft was modified by the user at the recorded time. What if you need to track changes to specific documents only? For example, only changes to a document named Doc. Let's go back to the scenario and open the connection settings window between nodes. You can add conditions for each connection in the scenario. The scenario will run along that connection only if the condition is true and will not run if the condition is false. Add the condition. If the document name is doc, then true, otherwise false. Save the changes, save the scenario, and click Deploy again. Try modifying the doc document. The changes were saved. A new row was added to the table, again indicating that we modified a document. Now modify another document. This time, the changes should not be recorded in the table. Go back to the draft table and add a test change. Save it and check the table. No new row appeared. Look at the scenario. To view the execution history of scenarios, go to the history table. Check the last execution and see that only the first node executed. Execution did not reach the second node because the connection condition was false. We edited a document whose name was not doc. Thus, we have created a scenario that responds to changes in the composition or content of files on Google Drive and records the necessary data in an Airtable table. Thanks for watching, and happy automations! Create advanced automations with flexible logic, an AI assistant with JavaScript, and headless browser for ultimate control. Save up to 30 times compared to other competitors. Registration is straightforward. Sign up today with no credit card required and start creating automations that save you time and money. Transform your workflow with Latenode.com.